y'all, to those of you who missed the class today, or if you want a refresher for interfaith friendship we talked about. And I talked about how religion means to realign. And we talked about how you've got all of these religions and they're all these fingers that are pointing at the same thing and they're pointing to the same God. Just like if you're all in your cars and you're all looking through your windshields, you're all looking through different windshields, but you're seeing the same moon. And this idea that if we worship the religion, you're missing God. Which is a really interesting balance to look at. And I talked about how when I had the teaching of the Trinity, Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, this perfect giving and receiving of love and of inclusion and of open-heartedness is what opens us to be able to have a dialogue and look at the connections and the interfaith friendship and the idea that if truth is true, it's true absolutely everywhere. So I talked a bit about the evolution of religion and how when people stopped, like how you can believe in evolution and God at the exact same time, knowing that God is this unfolding of love and this unfolding of Christ is what we would say. And so once people stopped, doing just survival, and all of a sudden you're living in kind of a community and you have time to stop to hear that still small voice within you that's pulling you towards meaning, that's pulling you towards life, that's pulling you towards connection. Once you're able to stop and listen to that, all of a sudden that's when you had religion as this response to this call within, to this search for this meaning that's happening. And so you see the religion itself could only be shaped by the state of mind and consciousness that those people were in at that time. An example is this word nonviolence didn't even enter our dictionaries since the past however many years because it wasn't actually a way of thinking, so there wasn't a word for it. And all of a sudden, as we're being pulled forward by this force of love, we start to discover, maybe I don't need to have this violence to be able to share in life and participate in life. And so what you see in these religions is all of a sudden it started at the very beginning, you have these different ideas of different gods all over the place, and there's the God that makes things grow, and there's the God of fertility, and there's the God of this and that and the other thing. And in that time, there was this interrelationship thinking, well, if my crop isn't growing, it must be something that I'm doing. So Timmy, go get Billy the goat so that we can, appease the God. The goat's gone. And that doesn't work. And so then, Timmy, go get your brother Tommy because, we got to do something to appease the God. And so it's child sacrifice. We need to know that that was actually a thing that happened that people would do. And as this time is moving forward and we're being pulling forward, this is why knowing that in the context, when you read the Abraham in the Old Testament, you read about Abraham bringing Isaac up to kill Isaac. If I don't know this whole context that child sacrifice was an actual thing, I would say, wow, that God is a super jerk, because who would ever ask that? The thing about that story is right when he's about to kill Isaac, God says, stop. You don't need to do this. And God continually pulling us forward in connection and love and only when we're able to open our minds and open our hearts do these things end up moving us forward. Example, there was a time in life when having a slave, that was the thing to do. And if you didn't have a slave, well, there was something wrong with you. We would look back at that now and think, how was that even a thought process? But the thing is that was the normal thought process. And it was that person that allowed their spirit to be pulled forward for them to say, wait a minute, maybe this isn't what, okay guys, I don't actually think this is good. And there's this dignity in every human being. So it's this cycle and this evolution of religion all the way up to Jesus, who was beyond his time and saying, love one another, even to the point on a cross, and then forgive each other all the time, forgive each other, even for this or that and the other thing, and make sure that everybody is taken care of, and run after the person. Don't push the person out. But run after those who feel pushed out in the margins in the first place, and then bring them in, because the secret is there is no secret, and the secret of the in club is there is no in club. There's just an us club. And so it's this beautiful thing. And so then when we know this, we're able to open our hearts to see how is the Spirit working in other religions as well. And it does say that even within the Catechism and within the teachings of the church, that wherever the Holy Spirit is, so the church does not denies nothing within where the Holy Spirit of love is seen within other religions, within other spiritualities. And then the idea of you'll know the truth and the truth will set you free, I talked a bit about. And that idea of the know there would actually, to know the truth, would actually be talking about participation. If you look at the Hebrew word, participation would be the better one to put in there. And what that means is, example, I can say there's poverty in Africa. I can know that. Or I could fly to Africa and I could live amongst those people and I could see what their daily lives are like, and then I really know. Then I participatory know, which is such a huge difference. So when we participatory know truth and love and enter into each other's stories, we can realize that truth of the love and the dignity in that person, whoever they may be, that participating in their life, that's going to set me free to love and to include. And so I gave you 4 articles that you need to read that will be on the website as well, to look through and underline and what sticks out to you. And one quote from there says, I have been drawn to the living heart of every spiritual tradition I have encountered. What I found irresistible was the essential unity at the core of all that diversity. Each faith tradition was singing the same song in a deliciously different voice. God is love. And that's from Mary Starr. And then, as Tom and Merton reflects, we are all already one. And James Finley says, we just need to start becoming what we already are. And then I talked about Jesus the Good Shepherd. And when Jesus the Good Shepherd is saying, I am the Good Shepherd, he says within there are sheep that don't belong to this flock. There's my sheep. They're everywhere. It's this God going after everybody, everywhere, always. And if it's true one place, it's true everywhere. It's absolutely beautiful. So moving into this idea of participating in life, and Jesus doesn't say worship me. Jesus says follow me. So participating in and how I believe, how does my faith and how does it help me enter my life and participate in my life in goodness and beauty. And then on this there's a website link, and on that link it's going to talk about different religions. And I'm asking you to look at what are those religions about, what are the parallels between that you see these images that are within Christianity as well, and then to know that these sort of things and this underlying truth. I'm with Mother Teresa, Mama T, who says, may the Christian go into the depths of their Christianity, and may the Jewish person be the best Jewish person they can be, and may the Hindu be the best Hindu that they can be, and may the Buddhist be the best Buddhist they can be. Because as you're doing this, you're surrounding yourself with love, you're surrounding yourself with this practice and this inclusion, and you're able to embrace these beautiful things, and then have your heart open to other people as well by practicing that one that helps to open you to the many. And the other thing that I wanted to say was this, God saying, draw yourself close to me and I will draw close to you. God is always close to you, but it makes sense. If I always surround myself with hate, and I read hate things, listen to angry music and all these things, what's going to surround me? Hate. But if I do the opposite, if I try to pursue love and I try to pursue goodness, and I surround myself and I read these things that have beauty and depth, and I listen to that sort of music, or whatever, if I surround myself with that, then you're more than likely to be open to more that is love. So know that you are a beautiful child of God, just how God made you. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Also, I have there what you are doing for your final interview or your final essay, or both. So make sure you take a close look at that. And you have to be able to refer to the course material throughout while you're discussing. Grace and peace. Have a good one.